Hey guys, this is Jake Alexander. So it's no secret that Instagram influencers aren't as hot as they were maybe a year or two ago, and for good reason. And if you followed me in the channel at all, you know that they're not exactly my favorite traffic source in comparison to Facebook and Google because there's a little bit more control on that end. However, they're still effective and they're still very useful, especially with the single product store strategy that I've been touting a lot recently. So with that said, just wanted to go ahead, jump in here, give a quick intro, and we're going to go ahead and jump right into this. So this is going to be a complete course on Instagram influencers from A to Z, so enjoy it. Alright, what's up guys? So this is going to be the first video in the Instagram influencer section of the course. So this is just going to be a quick introductory video letting you know what it is and what we're going to be going over. So influencers are accounts on Instagram with a large targeted following that are within your niche. So the cool thing, their following is normally people that are interested in the niche that you're selling products to. So how it works is you're going to pay these people, the account owners, a flat fee, and then in exchange they're going to post a photo of your selection to their Instagram feed for a specified time, and then along with a link to that product in their bio, and you get to send them the photo, the link, and the caption to put in the post and everything. In most cases you do anyway, so you have a lot of control over this. So it's a pretty basic concept. So pretty much all you need to know to be able to do this is how to find the influencers, how to reach out to them, how to estimate your ROI and negotiate a fair price, and then what to put in the post. And then another thing I should have added in there is also how to track your ROI from posts, so that way you can decide whether you want to reuse an influencer, and you can you always want to know the return that you're getting on any type of advertising cost. So this is a very basic concept and doesn't require any overcomplication or advanced formulas. Like unlike the Facebook ads section, this section is going to be a lot shorter. However, it doesn't mean it's going to be less effective. So that's it. And in the next few videos, we're going to be covering each one of these specific things in a little bit more detail. So I'll see you in the next video when we get into how we're going to find and locate influencers and how we can properly vet them and know who and which ones we should be reaching out to. So I'll see you guys in that one. Alright guys, so in this video we're going to be getting into how to actually find the influencer accounts that we're going to be getting our product shouted out on. So real quick, I wanted to go over the different types of accounts that you're going to find on Instagram and which ones you're going to be looking for and utilizing. So the first type of account is actual businesses. So an example of this would be like Lululemon's account, and you're not going to be advertising on these accounts. You're just going to avoid these accounts altogether. So the next type of account is like a meme or a niche account. So these are a little less valuable, but they are probably going to be the ones that you're going to be starting out with in the beginning, because these accounts are really responsive to promotions, and the barrier to entry with these accounts is really low. They'll almost promote anything most of the time, which is sometimes a bad thing because they can make their accounts more spammy. However, it's a good starting point if you're just starting out with Instagram influencers. However, these types of accounts definitely aren't going to produce the same type of ROI as the accounts below. So some examples of these I've went ahead and listed below if you want to search these accounts on Instagram so you can see what they're like. And then the next type of account is a personal account. So this is the typical influencer account. So the typical influencer is going to be pretty large within the niche, but they're not like a celebrity like the next account type. They're just large within their niche, and this is probably the most valuable to get shout outs on, because it's a perfect medium between the niche account and an actual celebrity. So you get a good mix between value and then actual ROI. So these are going to cost more than brand meme niche accounts. However, they're usually going to generate a higher ROI as well. And this is because the people that are following this specific influencer are, they're not only following them because they like the niche, because that's the same as the niche accounts, but they actually, most of the time, they like this person, they trust this person. So if this person were to advocate a specific product, they're going to be more apt to check it out than if a random niche account is promoting a specific product. So like me personally, I would never really check out a product that's promoted by a niche account. Now that's just me. Now that doesn't mean that it doesn't work, because it does, but that's just me. But if someone who I follow personally is recommending a product, I'm going to be way more likely to go check out the product, because I trust the person and I like them, and I may have a similar taste to them. So these accounts are the most valuable. However, they're going to be a little harder to get promotions on, because the barrier to entry is a little higher. They're going to be a little bit more wary and cautious about what they promote. So they're most likely not going to promote complete crap, because this would make them lose trust with their followers moving forward. So your products have to be a little bit nicer here, and definitely expect to pay a little bit more from this type of account. And as I said, I've listed some accounts, example accounts below that you can check out. You can look on Instagram, and then I put their niche next to it. I'm sure everyone recognizes Ty Lopez, so he's I hesitated to put him there because he's becoming a borderline celebrity at this point, but I think he'd still qualify as an influencer, just on the larger side. And then the last type of account is a celebrity account, and I wasn't even going to put this in here, but I just wanted to, just in case you guys were wondering. So this is going to be really expensive, and it's not something you should try until you're super established. Like, there's no way you're going to get like a shout out or a partnership with like Tom Brady if you're drop shipping crap from China. So like, this is something you do once like your business is super established and you're going for huge brand partnerships and stuff. But I just wanted to put this type of account there because they are out there. So I wanted to let you guys know what these accounts purpose are, and that it is possible to get brand partnerships, but you got to be really established, and it's going to be super expensive. So we're pretty much going to be sticking to the brand and niche accounts, and then the personal influencer accounts. And like I said, the brand and niche accounts are going to cost less, and they're going to be easier in the beginning, and the personal influencer accounts are going to cost more, and they're usually going to generate a higher ROI, but they're going to be a little bit harder. They're going to have a higher barrier to entry. So I'd recommend starting out with a few shout-outs on brand niche accounts, and then move over to personal influencer accounts after a few, once you get the hang of it. So finding influencers is actually easy. There's no like secret ninja method or anything. And when I say easy, I mean it's a simple process, but it's definitely time consuming. So what you need to do is essentially become one within your niche. So you follow related accounts, you live inside the niche, and you get to know who the regular accounts are in the niche. So you're just essentially you're staying involved in the niche, because if you do that, then you're going to just naturally come across influencer accounts, and you're going to come across people you can reach out to. And then the easiest way you can do it is to identify popular hashtags within the niche and then search through them. So you can use sites like hashtagify.me and then top-hashtags.com, and I'll be showing you an example of this in a few minutes. So you can identify popular hashtags within the niche, and then just search through the hashtags on Instagram, and then that's where you're going to be spending most of your time. You're just going to be digging through photos and looking for accounts. And then another cool way that helps speed up the process is utilizing Instagram's suggested feature. So when you follow one person, Instagram will usually suggest like 10 or 15 other related accounts. So you can just go and check out all those accounts as well to see if they are good accounts that we can reach out to. So I'll be showing you that as well in a couple minutes. And then the next thing you can do is just literally just Google top, and then insert your niche here, and then influencers, and you'll probably be able to find a couple that way, although you'll probably find a lot of the bigger ones on that end of things. So now we're going to get into vetting the influencers, because you don't want to just message any influencer. You want to make sure that you have some type of standards. So here are some ground rules. 50K plus followers is a good number to go by. Now sometimes if you find maybe like an account with 30,000 followers but the engagement rate is like ridiculously high, like 30% or something, then maybe you can go with a shout out on these accounts. From my experience, if you're going to pay for shout outs on accounts under 50K, sometimes you can get a good ROI from it, but you're definitely going to want to negotiate a super cheap price for accounts with under 50K. Like I'm talking like $10 max. So you're going to want to negotiate really cheap prices, unless if it's a personal influencer under 50K, you might spend more than $10. But if it's a brand account under 50K, then I wouldn't recommend spending over $10. So staying over 50K is a safe number to stick with. However, if you want to go under it, just make sure you're negotiating a really low price and that their engagement rate is really low. And I'll show you how to calculate engagement rate in a second. So the next thing is that they don't own their own store, so you just want to check in their bio to make sure they don't have a link to their own e-commerce store, because if they do, why are they going to promote a competitor? So if they have that, just avoid them. Now, do keep in mind, just because they might have a store link in their bio at the time, because they're promoting somebody else at the time. So do make sure that you check that it's their store, and if it's not their store, then you can still reach out to them. So the easiest way to tell if it's their store is just to see if the store name matches the name of their Instagram account, and if it doesn't, it's probably not their store, and you can reach out for promotions. So the next thing you want to look for is that the account has at least a 1% engagement rate minimum. Now, the more the better. And the higher the engagement rate, the more you should be willing to pay. So if it's under 1%, don't even bother. To be honest, I'd probably at least want 2%, but the larger the account is, then 1% sometimes becomes doable. But for a smaller account, maybe look for 2%, but I'll show you how to calculate this in a little bit. And then the last thing is just that the account doesn't look spammy, so that there isn't like 50 promotions out of 60 pictures. So this should be pretty easy to spot whether an account looks spammy or not. So if the influencer meets all of these requirements, you're going to add their name to a Google Sheet or an Excel sheet for later. And I'll show you how I like to keep track of things. It's a really simple way of tracking things. So now we're going to go ahead and hop over to Google Chrome, and we're going to take a look at some of these examples. So this site right here is hashtagify.me. So we can go ahead and search our niche here, and it will give us 10 related hashtags. So if I were to search like yoga, you can see the top related hashtags for yoga are meditation, yogi, mindfulness, fitness, art. So these are hashtags that we could check out as well. So hashtagify.me is going to give you a lot of related hashtags, and then top-hashtags.com is going to give you hashtags that actually have the keyword you typed in the name. So if I were to search yoga over here, you can see yoga, yoga every damn day, yoga love, yoga life, yoga girl, yoga inspiration. So We have some good hashtag ideas here, so then all we would need to do is grab one of these hashtags. You don't need to spend too much time on these sites, just get the hashtag ideas and come over to Instagram itself. So we'll go with yoga, one of these tags. So now you can type the hashtag in here and then we can look. So let's go for, what was it, yoga love. Real quick before we search the hashtag, you can just search your niche here if you want. And then you can see some accounts here. Like you can just search yoga and then look through a bunch, and some of this stuff will come up as well. So you can find hashtags this way as well, and you can find accounts. The only downside is you only be able to find, if you're just searching like a niche name or something here, you're only going to find accounts that have like that in their name, which means you're only going to find mainly branded accounts. But just real quick, we'll go ahead and open one of these up just to show you. So yoga inspiration here is, you can see this is a branded account. With a lot of followers, but they probably sell stuff on this site, so we'll see. Yeah, so they already have a store that's there, so this is an account. This is not an account you would reach out to. So let's go ahead and search one of the hashtags. And you're normally going to want to look through top posts, because if you go to recent posts, it's going to be people with like 9 likes, so these people aren't actual like influencers. So you want to look for someone that has like a decent amount of likes. So this one has a decent amount of likes here, so I'm going to go ahead and open it up. Alright, so yeah, see, this account is sort of small, so it's almost 50K, but it looks like this is a personal account instead of a branded or niche account, which is cool. So personal accounts are more valuable, and she's not promoting a store or anything. So even though this is under 50K, I'm just going to go ahead and show you a couple of the examples in here. So first off, how to calculate your engagement rate. So I don't like to look at the most recent 3 photos, and that's because I don't know 13 hours ago. I don't know how recently they were posted, so I want to look at photos that were posted a little while ago. So what I like to do is look at the photos, the next 9 photos. So not the excluding the first 3. I like to look at the next 9 photos here. So what you would do is add up the likes on each photo. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on my phone. So 1268, 43, 502, 940, 365, 1243, 1426, 2343, and 1358. And then once you add up the cumulative likes of these 9 photos, you're going to divide that by 9. So that means the average, then you get the average amount of likes per photo. So that's your average engagement. And then we need to take our engagement number that we get from that and divide it by this number. So I got an average of 1,176 likes divided by 45,200. And then you get your engagement rate. So this account has an engagement rate of 0.026%. So this is an engagement rate of 2.6%. So that's actually a pretty good engagement rate. So what I would do if I wanted to track this account for later is I would take this name right here and I would go over to a Google Sheet or a Excel sheet, and this is how I set it up. So I have the account name, their followers, their engagement rate, how much we negotiated for the shout out, when it got posted, the post duration, how long did the post stay up, how much revenue did it generate, and then how much profit did we make. overall. So this is how I keep track of things. So I'll go ahead and post the account name in here. And let's not have it that big. And then we put in their followers, so 45.2K. And then I put in their engagement rate, so 2.6%. And then I would know I have this person to reach out to later. So like I said, this is just essentially a easy process, but it's long and tedious. So now I want to show you. So let's say I follow this person. The suggested box didn't show up this time. Let me try and follow a bigger account and see if it shows up. Alright, well the suggested box isn't showing up, but it's probably because I'm on desktop and you're supposed to use Instagram on mobile. So what'll happen is when you follow these related accounts, a pop-up will show up down here and it will show recommended accounts. And then what you can do is you can look through all of these recommended accounts, and then that's just more and more account ideas. And then every time you follow a new account, you can go through and look at their recommended boxes as well. So that's it for finding influencers. So like I said, it's pretty much just finding the hashtags, looking for the hashtags on Instagram, and then just digging through a bunch of different things for, this is going to take a while. You want to fill up this list to where you have at least like 20, 30 people to reach out to at minimum, whether it's people or branded Instagram niche accounts. So you want to go ahead and at least fill out 20 or 30, and then in the next video we're going to get into reaching out to the influencers, and then we'll cover negotiating cost as well. So I'll see you guys in that one. Alright guys, so in this video we're going to get into reaching out and negotiating rates with influencers. So reaching out to people is simple, so make sure you don't overcomplicate it by trying to send your life story or trying to come up with a huge sales pitch. It's pretty simple, so don't try and overthink it, and always keep in mind that not everyone's going to reply to you, so that's just the way it is. So the odds of getting a 100% response rate are next to none. So understanding that not everyone's going to respond to you is just part of the game. So some accounts will say DM for promotions or business, and these accounts are typically the easiest to get in contact with, and they'll be the most responsive. And then in your message, just make sure to be nice and be direct, and then have your product promo ready ahead of time. So make sure you have the photo, the caption, and the link already ready to go. And the only time that this wouldn't be the case is if you're reaching out to a personal account influencer and maybe you're sending them a product and they're gonna wear the product or take a picture with the product using it, and they're gonna take a custom photo and do a custom caption in their own link or in their own caption, and you just give them the link. Now sometimes with personal influencers you can do that, but pretty much 99% of the time with niche accounts, so the niche like meme style accounts, you're going to provide the photo, the caption, and the link. And the majority of the time with the personal accounts you're going to do that as well, but sometimes you can try and build a little bit more of a relationship with the personal influencer, and you can get them to take a picture, make a quick video of them with your product. But if this is going to be the case, you'd obviously have to send them a free product, and they'd actually have to probably like the product. But if you can get a picture with the personal influencer, like let's just say for example wearing your print-on-demand product, that's going to be a lot more powerful than just you sending them a stock photo of the product. So if you can get the personal influencer to take a custom photo with the product, then that's going to help you out a lot. But a lot of the time you're just going to have to send over your own photo and everything, so just make sure you always have that ready beforehand in case they're ready to get started you want to make sure that you actually have the information ready to go. And then some accounts are going to have their email address in their bio as well. So if this is the case, then reach out via Instagram DM, and then also email them to ensure they get your message. So you just send them the same message on Instagram and via email. So pretty simple. So here's an example outreach template you can use, keeping it simple. So, hey, I was looking through your feed and really liked your posts. We have a business that sells products that I think your followers would love. You can check them out at the link in our bio. I'd like to pay you for a sponsored post on your page. If you're interested, I have the promo information set up already and can send it over ASAP. Thanks. So obviously you can change this up and personalize it to your liking, or you can change it however you want, but this is just a pretty basic template you can use. And I put this other one down here because it was kind of funny, because I actually had my brother managing one of my store's Instagram accounts, and I had him sending out messages, and I told him to just send this out, just, hey, how much for a sponsored post? And this one actually was getting around 50% response rates, which is kind of funny. But the caveat with that was he was only outreaching to brand accounts. So this may work well for brand accounts, but that's not going to work really well with a personal influencer account. So keep that in mind. So I would recommend using the top one. I just put that in there because I thought it was kind of funny that one was actually getting pretty decent response rates. But I wouldn't recommend using that one unless they actually say, like I put in the previous slide, like DM for promotions or business. Then you can probably get away with using that one effectively. But if it's an actual person or an influencer, like a person influencer, not a brand or a niche account, then definitely go at the top one and try and personalize it a bit more, because you're speaking more to you're trying to get a promotion on somebody's personal account versus like a niche page, which it's going to be a lot easier to get something on there, because most of those niche pages are created for the sole purpose of promoting other people's products. So versus personal accounts aren't really created for that purpose, so they're a little harder to get in, so you need to put a little more effort into the outreach. So as far as negotiation goes, there's going to be two types of accounts you'll run into. So there's people with set rates and then people without set rates. So people without set rates are typically either smaller accounts or newer accounts, or maybe they created their account without the intent to promote other people's stuff. So you usually want to offer a really low ball offer here initially, since they may not realize how much their posts are worth. So why pay more than you have to? So you might be able to get a really super cheap post out of this. So if you once you get experience with buying shout outs within your niche, maybe you find someone who doesn't have a set rate, and say you're used to paying a certain price for a certain amount of followers with a certain engagement rate, but this person doesn't have a set rate, you can go ahead and just offer half that up front just to see if they'll take it. You might as well start out low to see if you can get away with it. And then people with set rates should still be negotiated with if possible. Sometimes certain accounts are going to be really firm with their rates, and then others are going to be flexible. So you can use the formula on the next slide to help with your negotiation efforts. So if you explain the math to them, that I'm going to show you on the next slide, it might help with your negotiation. But most of the time, if they have set rates, sometimes they're pretty firm, but you can usually talk them down at least $5 or $10, $15, depending on where their initial price point is, especially if you explain the numbers behind it. Because obviously, you got to remember, these accounts, they obviously want the business to make an ROI, because they want you to come back and continue purchasing again. So it's not in their best interest to rip people off, because if they do, they're not going to get a lot of people coming and paying for posts. So that's why the door is usually always open for negotiation. So here's an ROI formula that you can use to estimate how much you might possibly make off of a specific Instagram promo. Now, quick disclaimer, definitely take this with a grain of salt. because it's not going to be super accurate, but it's about as scientific as we can get with this. So first off, we're going to take our account, or take the account that you're looking at, the influencer account's engagement rate, which we should already have calculated and have in a Google Sheet or Excel, and then we're going to times that by 0.05. And the 0.05 is going to represent how many people that engage with, how many people out of the people that are estimated to engage with the photo. We're going to estimate that 5% of the people that engage with the photo will actually click through and go to your site. So after you do this math, you'll get the people likely to click over to your site. And this number is going to vary widely depending on how trusted the account is, and then obviously how well received your product is, and how much your product fits in with that audience, and then there's a lot how well your ad looks. So there's a lot of factors, so keep that in mind. This could end up being way off, but this is about as close as we can estimate. And 5% of people, if your product's good and the account's trustworthy, 5% of people clicking over to your site's pretty low balling it, so it's a good way to play this conservative. So after you got that number, take the above number and then times that by your store conversion rate. So use 3% if you don't have a store conversion rate, if your store is still fresh, and then that will give you your estimated number of sales from the promotion. And then you're going to take the estimated number of sales times your product margin, and then that's going to give you your estimated profit from your promotion. And then from there, you're going to want the promo price to be at least half of that, so that way you have an estimated 2x return at the very least, because we don't want to really be spending $100 to make $120. I mean, obviously I would do that if it was guaranteed, but as I said, how much this can fluctuate, we want the formula to at least predict a 2x ROI, because there's a lot of fluctuation that can take place, so it kind of makes it safer and makes sure you're not wasting your money. So a quick disclaimer, the formula is not 100% accurate, and I can't even say, it's hard to say if it's even 60% accurate, because there's just so many variables. Like people may click over to your store, but if your product page isn't good or something like that, there's so many variables. But if you've done everything correctly and followed all the instruction in the course up until this point with setting up your store properly, and then you set up, you picked a good product and you set up the post correctly and everything, then the formula is going to become more and more accurate as you're eliminating other variables. And the only variables that are out of your control at that point is the account trust, of how much the followers trust the account, and then how much the followers will like your product. So it's meant to be used as a general guideline, but there are so many variables, like I just went over, that can alter this. So take it with a grain of salt, but I would definitely recommend using it. As you get more and more experience with buying influencer posts, you'll start to get a better gauge of how certain products perform within your niche, how receptive your niche is, and then how much you should be paying. So until you get that instinct, definitely try and use the formula as a nice base guideline. So a couple quick tips when you're scheduling when the post is going to go up. Some accounts only keep your promo up for a certain period of time. So like some accounts, you pay them and then they just keep the post up forever. But some accounts will only, they'll charge you different prices for different amounts of time. So maybe they charge like $20 for 4 hours, $40 for 8 hours, $60 for 24 hours. So if you run into accounts like this, in my experience, the first 4 hours seems to drive the most traffic. So if they're charging a ton more for, say, 6 hours instead of 4, I would just go with 4 hours. But if they have, I guess, like a bulk time discount, and you run it through the formula that makes sense, then you can decide to go with the post that's up for longer. And like I said, this is just from personal experience, so it may vary within your niche. It could just be a niche thing, but I seem to get the majority of traffic from Instagram promotions in the first 4 hours. And I've also found that weekend promotions seem to work better. This could just be a complete fluke, but my theory is that people are more likely to be at home instead of at work or at school, so they're in a better position to buy, because they're in the comfort of their home. They can just, go grab their credit card and finish the purchase, versus if they're at work or in school. Now, as I said, this is just a theory, so you can just test it out yourself. It could just be a complete fluke, but there seems to be a trend from my experiences. And then another thing I've found is that having the post go live between 12 and 4 Eastern Standard Time seems to perform the best on weekends, and then 4 to 6 Eastern Standard Time during weekdays. But like I said, split test and see what works best for you. But if you're not sure where to start out, then go ahead and go with these suggestions I've gave you, but don't be afraid to branch out and try different things. Maybe your niche buys more during the week. Maybe your niche is up later at night. There's a lot of different things. So this is just, these tips here are literally just bias from personal experience. So I'm not sure how it will play out in other niches that I haven't been in, but like I said, it's just a theory. So with that being said, that's going to be it for this video, and in the next one we're going to get into actually how you can create the post to give to the influencer. So I'll see you guys in that one. Alright guys, so now we're going to go ahead and hop into creating the actual post. So the first option is if you're creating it yourself. So if you're creating it yourself, you can just go ahead and use canva.com. So if you haven't seen the tutorial on how to use canva.com, that is in the Facebook ads section, because you create Instagram ads through Facebook. So a couple things, if I'm creating the ad myself, I do like to put my website at the top, just in case people don't want to actually go through to the profile's bio and click the link. Maybe they just want to open up their browser from Instagram and go ahead and type in and go directly to the website. Now, the reason I like to do this and not in Instagram ads is, one is because when you're running ads, you don't want a lot of text in the image, but two, when you're running an Instagram ad, the ad is clickable, and they can obviously click and go straight to your site. But when you're doing an influencer post, the ad isn't clickable, so that's why I like to put the website at the top. So customer photos work really well here, especially in print on demand. So since it's Instagram, customer photos always work well anyway, but especially for influencer posts, and especially on Instagram, and especially also in print on demand, it's super powerful. So if you don't have some customer photos and you're doing print on demand, I would recommend just ordering your product and taking a picture of yourself in it. You can hide your face. It can just be, from waist to neck, or send it to a friend who would be interested in the shirt. If the product turns out to be a winner, the like the $10 cost you spent is definitely going to be worth it. So customer photos and custom photos work really well here, work a lot better than stock photos. So similar theme as with paid ads. So if you have a video ad for the product, I should say, I don't know why I put video ad for the video, but if you have a video ad for the product, you can try this out as well, and you can even split test maybe a video ad on one influencer, and then you can test out a different type of photo on another influencer. So you can try a video versus a photo and see what works better. And then similar to creating this entire process is similar to creating an Instagram ad through Facebook. So it's pretty simple. So for the caption, because if you're creating it yourself, you have to give them the photo and the caption. So for the caption, you just create a nice and simple caption following these two steps. So the first part of the caption, you're going to call out the audience and say something to get their attention. And then the second step is just going to be the call to action. Alright, so here's a quick example. I just made it real quick to throw in here. So you can see, this would be a post I would send to an influencer if I was selling this shirt. And then you can see I put a website up top. I just put in a random name for the sake of creating that image. I'm not sure if that's an actual site. I'm sure it is. It's probably some crazy site ran by a caffeine fiend. Anyway, so here's an example caption here. You can see it follows the 2 steps. I say something that gets my audience attention, and then I tell them to get the product. So you can see, fellow caffeine addicts, your coffee is calling. What you pick up, making a reference to the product, and then grab your shirt at the link in our bio. So pretty simple. With influencer captions, usually you want to keep it even simpler than writing ad copy. So it's supposed to be a more personal style post on someone's account versus a straight up paid ad. So keep it very basic. So follow the 2 steps, call out your audience, CTA, don't overthink it, just do that. So the second type of situation you'll run into is if it's an influencer created post. So this is only applicable to personal influencer accounts and not niche accounts, because niche accounts are typically not going to create personal posts. So these type of posts are typically more powerful because, 1, as we covered before, personal accounts are just much better in general, but 2, them actually using, wearing, and or demonstrating the product makes it that much more powerful and trustworthy. So to do this, you can discuss this in the negotiation phase. You can offer the influencer a free product in exchange for a custom ad, and if they're really interested in your product and they just want your product, they might just post an ad for free. Now, this isn't always going to be the case, and it definitely won't be the case for larger influencers, but sometimes smaller influencers, they'll be happy to just get a free product, and then they'll post a photo with themselves using it. So it's definitely something you can try out with people. So keep an eye out for these opportunities on personal accounts by looking at their previous posts to see if they've done something similar in the past. So if you see that they've promoted products that people have sent to them previously, then it may be something that you want to go ahead and do. So this is definitely something I would recommend trying to do, especially in print on demand. If it's print on demand, because the shipping time is a lot faster than 2 weeks. So if you're sending someone an AliExpress product, that's still okay, and you can definitely do that. And I'm not discouraging you doing that, but I'm just more so encouraging that if you're doing print on demand, then you should absolutely go ahead and just send the person the product. You should offer to send them the product. Maybe you send them the product, and even if they still want to charge you, they charge a little bit less. And maybe you can give them a custom coupon or something like that. We'll get into that a little bit more in a later video in this section. So now real quick, I just want to show you an actual Instagram account that's promoting a product with a post that the account owner created herself. So that way I can show you an example of what to look out for and stuff. So we're going to head over to Chrome, and we're on Instagram here. So you can see if we look at this first ad right here, you can see first off, you can see that she's promoting a product right here, this protein, and then if I play the video, you see the protein right here in the video. So you can see how her creating a video like this and promoting the product in this manner is going to convert a lot higher than if they were just sent a stock photo of just this protein. So this is obviously going to convert a lot better than send a stock photo. So I just wanted to show you an example of that. So if you see accounts like this where they're advertising products like that, then you can definitely go ahead and decide to try and reach out and send them the product yourself, because sending them one of your products, like I said, is going to end up being more powerful than just doing a stock photo or a something you create yourself, unless you already have a customer photo. But the account owner using, wearing, demonstrating the product is always going to be more powerful. So keep an eye out for that, and when you're looking at personal accounts, keep an eye out in their recent posts if they're promoting anything like that. And also, even if they're not, it's still something that you can try and bring up with a personal account. You can still offer to send them a free product. So definitely utilize that, and that's it for creating posts. It's pretty simple. Keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate things. And with that said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Alright guys, so in this video we're going to be getting into Instagram story posts. So story posts are the posts that are going to be in somebody's Instagram story. So if you're familiar with Instagram, you know what Instagram stories are. They're up top. They're the vertical ads or videos that only stay up for 24 hours. So when you're creating these posts, the size is going to be 1080 by 1920. And like I said, they're vertical ads. So some influencers will have a story post included in a package they have if they have set rates, and others you may need to negotiate to have a story post added in. So story posts are definitely something to split test and try out and see if you're having good results with doing the story posts, because story posts do have different performance than posts on just the Instagram feed itself, because story posts can actually get more clicks. Well, I don't want to say more clicks, but a higher CTR, so a higher click-through rate, due to only having to swipe up versus when somebody sees a picture in their feed, they have to go click through to the bio and then click the link in their bio. So versus when they see the ad on a Instagram story, all they have to do is swipe up and they're immediately brought to the landing page. So it makes the CTR is going to be a bit higher on that, because it's a lot easier for someone to just swipe up versus clicking through to the feed. But stories are typically going to get less impressions and overall reach than posts on the feed, because more people are going to scroll through their feed than watch every single story from everyone they follow. So stories are typically going to get less impressions, and stories, like I previously said, always disappear after 24 hours. So when it comes to story posts, you can either create them yourself, or maybe have your influencer. If you send them a product, they can take a picture of them and the product and also put it on their story. So as far as creating a story post goes, if you're creating it, you'll use Canva, just like we pretty much use for all of our ad creation. And then Canva has specific story templates that we can use, so we don't have to create it from scratch if we don't want to. And then the key thing to remember when you're creating a story post is you always want to have your CTA that says swipe up. So even though Instagram has their own little CTA on there, you want to have your own CTA in there as well that says swipe up. So you want to make sure that the person knows if they want the product that they need to swipe up to be able to see it. And I just wanted to show a quick example right here that I just created a couple minutes ago. So you can see I used the branding of the course on here, but you can see it's pretty simple. I gave them a coupon code in here for 25% off. I showed the product we were promoting, and then I said swipe up to shop now. And this was actually a template that I found on Canva. So you can use templates, or you can just start with a photo that's 1080 by 1920 and go ahead and create your own from scratch, or you can use a template. It's up to you. So we're going to go ahead and go over to Canva, and I'm going to show you how to find templates. So when you're signed into Canva here, all you want to do is go to find templates and then just type in story. And then you can see all of these templates here are just sized to fit in the Instagram story. So you can just find one that looks like you could stick your product photo in. Like you could probably stick a product photo in this one. You can stick a product photo up here. So there's a lot of templates you can use, or like I said, you can just go ahead and go to create a design with custom dimensions and then create it from scratch with 1080 by 1920. So whichever you want to do. Templates just sometimes make it a little bit easier to make a smooth looking graphic, but at this point, if you're really used to Canva and really used to creating your own stuff, you can probably create a good looking Instagram story ad without a template. So with that being said, that's it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Alright, so in this video we're going to get into how you can track your results from each of your Instagram influencer promotions. So tracking profits is important because, if a promo is successful, then you're going to want to use that influencer again in the future. So you definitely want to track your profits. And tracking profits in business is always important anyway. So even if you didn't want to reuse them, you still want to see how much you made. You want to see if it was a worthy investment. So the easiest way to track is to only run one promotion at a time, so that way there's no confusion. And then when you're looking through your sales, see which ones came from Instagram. So which ones, you can usually see the referral source on Shopify, so see which ones came from Instagram, or maybe the source might be direct if you put the website at the top of the post like I do. So where it can get a little bit dicey is if you're running a Facebook campaign for the same product at the same time, and that Facebook campaign is showing Instagram ads in the Instagram feed. So if this is the case, then after the promo, you'll have to check your Facebook campaign's performance, and then you'll have to see how many, if any, of the sales came from the Instagram placement on your Facebook ads. So if you set up your Facebook ads like me, where you separate Instagram into its own ad set, this will be really easy to see. So if you were promoting, if you had an ad set on Facebook with the Instagram placement, and then you ran an influencer promotion at the same time for that product, and let's say you had 10 sales for the day, and it'd be easy to tell how many came from the influencer post, because you could go on Facebook, and then if you look at the ad set with the Instagram placement, let's say it had 3 sales, so that means the remaining 7 sales from Instagram came from the influencer post. So I hope that made sense. If not, listen to it a couple times to make sure you got it, because you want to make sure that you can track very efficiently. And yeah, you can always just run influencer posts without having ads live, but I just, that's just dumb. There's no reason to not maximize your profits. It's not worth holding off on running Facebook campaigns just so that way you can save 10 seconds on tracking. So it's not that hard to differentiate where the sales are coming from, as long as you put in a little bit extra effort. So you can also make tracking a bit easier by posting a coupon code in your caption that you give the influencer, so all sales that use that coupon were obviously from that promo, or if maybe the influencer has a custom coupon you gave them, then obviously you know that sales are going to be from that promotion. So now we're going to go ahead and head over to a Google Sheet. I'm just going to show you quickly how I track things. So as you can see, this is the sheet that we were in earlier. So this is where I put all the accounts that are found. And maybe if you're not doing the research, if you're at the point where maybe you have someone else, like a VA, doing some of the account research, they would just be putting it in here and calculating followers and engagement rates. So that is something that's easily outsourced, but we'll cover that in a later module in the course. So this is pretty much how I track things. It's pretty simple. So this is obviously the information we got earlier. So let's say we were going to do a promo on this account, and it would cost us $30. And then I like to just put when it went up. So let's say it went up today at 4 p.m. Eastern, and the post duration is just going to be indefinite. So this person's going to keep the post up for a while, or for the lifetime. They're not going to delete it. And then let's say it generated 8 sales with $10 profit margin, so $80. So with this information here, we can see we spent $30 to make $80 in profit. So our overall profit would be, so we could just put profit from promo would be $50. So you can see that would be a successful promotion, spending $30 and turning into $80. So what you could do if you wanted to keep track of knowing who to come back to, you could like highlight. Oh wait, no, that's text. You can come here and highlight the account in green if the promotion was positive, and maybe highlight it red if the promotion was negative. Now, if a promotion isn't successful, it doesn't always mean the influencer is bad. It could mean that your product wasn't good, so keep that in mind as well. So it's always good to collect this data. And then you can also collect other things, like every time, if you're going to reuse the influencer, then you would just go ahead and add an extra layer here, and you'd put it in here. So let's say we reuse the influencer again the next week. So we would just do it again. Let's say it got 9 sales this time, 90, and then we made 60. So every time you reuse an influencer, make sure you're tracking it in the same area, so that way you can see your entire history of working with that specific influencer as well. And keeping a long-term relationship with influencers is good, because usually their followers are going to go up. Most of the time, accounts that are growing, their followers aren't going to go down the next time you see them. Their followers are going to keep growing. Accounts usually don't go negative; they go positive. So over time, your promos could get more and more profitable, and you may be able to build a long-term relationship with this influencer. So we're actually going to get a little bit more into that in the next video. So this is how you keep track of stuff. If you have another method for tracking that you think is more effective, that's fine. But this is how I do it. I think it's pretty simple. So with that said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Alright, so this video we're going to get into getting brand ambassadors through Instagram. So this is something you will do as your brand gets bigger. And it's definitely something that can help add a lot of more sustainable revenue long term, and it's super good for branding and social proof. So long-term influencers and or brand ambassadors are pretty much just a influencer that you're going to be working with over a extended period of time. But the working relationship is going to change a bit. So if you have a few successful promos with one influencer, then I want to clarify, this is a personal account, so not one of the niche or meme accounts, but this is an actual person. The account is a person. You may want to consider trying to bring them on as a brand ambassador. So if they really like you and your product and your brand, and then you like them and you like the image that they portray, and by that I mean your product being associated with them won't be a negative, won't shine a negative light on your brand, then this could be a great opportunity. So to do this, you can give them a special link or a code that they can use long term, and I'm going to show you an app in a second that you can use to set up this affiliate program. So you can give them a special code, and then they can send traffic to your site through that, and then they will get a percentage. So they'll get, you get to pick the percentage. So this is obviously what you would negotiate with, but you can, you can give them like 15% or 20% of the revenue of all orders that they send over. So if they send you a $20 order, they get $5 out of it. So this would make the relationship more passive on your end, because they could just promo whenever they want, or they can just keep their website on their profile all the time, or at this point they can do essentially whatever they want to send traffic to your site, and then they take a percentage of the sales they generate, and meanwhile you're just doing nothing. And maybe over time, as the relationship goes on, if you have like some strong brand ambassadors, you probably want to send them free stuff whenever you launch a new product or something, and it's also an incentive for them to be an ambassador. Maybe they get some free stuff if they send you a certain amount of sales, certain amount of revenue. So you can always set up a bunch of cool stuff like that. So the cool thing about this is you're not continuously paying up front anymore for post. You're only paying them once they make the sale, and obviously with the app, the affiliate commission is completely automated. So they pretty much become your affiliate. So The additional benefit though is you also get a ton of social proof from it. So you're going to be able to use all the photos they have taken with your product. You're going to get to use all the videos that they've made with your product. And you're also going to get the credibility of your product being endorsed by someone with a large following. So as you get bigger, you may even start having people reaching out to you to become an ambassador for your brand, which is always a good thing, and that's a sign that your business is going in the right direction. So this is definitely a long-term strategy, and you see a lot of huge companies doing it on TV. Like you see a lot of the acne brands like Proactive and stuff, they'll get big name celebrities to endorse their products and stuff. So this is kind of similar to that, except instead of paying them up front to do a commercial or something, we're actually just building a relationship with them where they use and promote our products, and then they get an affiliate commission every time they generate a sale. So now I'm going to show you a quick example of this in action on an Instagram account, and then I'm also going to show you the app. So this is the same Instagram influencer account that I used as a demonstration in the previous video, so I can keep it pretty straightforward. So like in the previous video, we already saw this protein product here, but you notice if we scroll down, we're going to see more similar products. So we can see here is and if we go down some more, we can see the protein again, and then we see the energy drink again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up and I'm going to show you guys this site. I'm going to show you their site real quick, because I'm going to show you how they have it set up. So you can see this is a pretty big brand here. So we're going to open this up, we're going to open their site, and I'm going to head down to the bottom of the page as soon as it loads. So you can see they have a page right here called Ambassadors. And once this loads, yeah, you can see this is their custom influencer program. So they can become a brand ambassador or an affiliate, and people actually have to fill out the form to apply to become an ambassador. So once you get to this point, you know that you're doing something right. So I just wanted to give you an example of the longevity of getting brand ambassadors and what it looks like once you've scaled out the process all the way to its full fruition. So in order to get this started, you obviously don't need to have an application like this. However, setting up an application like this really isn't that hard. So you could start setting up an application as soon as you get a few brand ambassadors through negotiation. You could just throw this up on your site just to see if people that are interested. You can send them to here. It may look more professional when you're negotiating with people. You can be like, well, hey, we've had some successful promos. Maybe you should apply to become an ambassador. So this is the app that we can use to set up our affiliate tracking and commissions and stuff. So there's other apps as well, but this is the one that I would recommend. So with that being said, that's going to be it for this video, and this is actually going to be the last video in the Instagram influencer section. So like I said, this section is going to be a lot less complicated than Facebook ads, and I hope it was. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video.